on the call, which is phenomenal. Let's give a quick overview of what Charlotte East is and what Charlotte East does. So, Charlotte East is not the name of the geography, it is East Charlotte. We are a community development organization specifically focused on the middle of East Charlotte or the area around the Eastland redevelopment, which we call the greater Eastland area. These meetings we started holding 3 years ago. Ladane at Meckman was running an Eastside specific meeting during COVID. She graciously passed these off to us, and we have grown from about 12, averaging 12 per meeting, to our first two meetings this year, we had 35 and 40. So it's really just great to see the robust energy, presenters coming to share information on different topics. We have a really good agenda today that I'm excited for. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the agenda, and I would like to recognize, I think we do have one elected official on the call. Thank you, Council Member Maswera Arias, City Council District 5, for being with us today. I see two Planning Commission members, Carolyn Millen and Chair Douglas Welton. Thank you for joining us today. And just a slew of other great, friendly Eastside faces. So thank you all for being here. As communicated this morning, this is our agenda for this afternoon. We're starting with a longer than usual. I wanted to give them a little bit more time presentation from the Housing Justice Coalition to talk about an issue that is pertinent not just to the West Side, but something that is extremely important for all of us in Mecklenburg County, particularly as we have a lot of workers from the airport who live on the East Side. So with that said, we're at 3:02. Ismail, I am going to give you sharing permissions, or do you want me to just go through the slides?
So it'll be myself and Chelsea presenting. So I think
Okay, cool.
I was going to ask Chelsea, are you okay with sharing the screen for the slides?
Do I have that ability?
Hi, Chelsea. I'm going to go ahead and give that to
Hi.
y'all right now. Chelsea, I'm sorry, I did not see you on the call. So we have Chelsea
Oh,
and Ismail from HJC. You guys should have permission to share right now.
okay.
So what we'll do is while Chelsea is pulling that up, I'll go ahead and introduce who we are and give just I think a basic overview of why we believe that the conversation around the airport lease and specifically the workers that are organizing for higher wages and standards is really important to everybody across the city. Before we do that, my name is Ishmael Kayem. I am a member of the Housing Justice Coalition. And the Housing Justice Coalition has been around roughly since maybe 2017, 2018. And we are an organization dedicated to the realization of housing as a human right. And to that end, a lot of our work is organizing with communities where displacement is happening rapidly, where there are issues of gentrification. And also, I think here in Charlotte, locally, issues of direct public investment and the way in which those public dollars end up oftentimes resulting in the displacement of historic communities. I'm sure those of you who have been following the I-77 toll lane issue, that's like a classic example. The light rail, which is a large public-private partnership, particularly the Blue Line, is another example of public dollars and public investments ultimately resulting in displacement. So also, I just wanted to briefly give my colleague Chelsea a chance to introduce herself as well.
hi, everyone. Sorry. Apparently, I need to give my Zoom app access to I'm having trouble sharing the presentation basically, which is what I'm trying to do right now. But just to briefly introduce myself, my name is Chelsea Trunk, and I am a core member of Housing Justice Coalition. Um, and I've been with the group for since 2019. So I am a Charlotte native, born and raised in Charlotte, moved away briefly and have been back now for several years. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I am struggling I have to
Here.
give it some sort of permission. I'm so sorry. Do you
It's
mind?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I can go ahead and pull it up, and you guys just tell me when to go next, if that
That's
works.
perfect. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay, great. So I'll just give a brief overview and then we'll get into the slides. Also, I guess about myself, yeah. So I'm from Clinton Park. That's where I live in West Charlotte. But my office is I'm an attorney by trade. My office is actually at the Latin American Coalition. So I'm kind of live in West Charlotte, work in East Charlotte. So that's just wanted to share that. Okay, so just very briefly, like why is this topic pertinent or important for us, right? Um, Number one, and like I said, I think the slides will kind of get into more details about the airport. But what we really want to do is we've basically put forward a group of demands around the airport lease. For those of you who don't know, the airport is basically run or controlled by the city, and the space is leased to the carriers. American Airlines is the primary carrier. They are what we call a fortress hub because they run about 90% of the flights out of Charlotte Douglas International Airport. So, in a lot of ways, the lease is really kind of a direct negotiation between American Airlines and the city, and it's usually in 10-year increments. So, the last time the lease was approved was in 2016. So the lease is up for it expires this year, and we know that the negotiations are happening behind closed doors, and we know that the lease will ultimately have to be approved by City Council in a public hearing. It will have to be voted upon. So what we really would like, number one, is transparency around this process, right? Like the the lease is important because it basically it deals a lot with operating issues, but it also pertains to direct investment in and around the airport, economic development projects, revenue sharing, and other things that are really important. Now, why is this important for community members? Number one, because American Airlines basically has runs 90% of the flights out of Charlotte. The fares that you pay as individuals or that we pay are basically considerably higher than the fares of similarly situated airports around the country. Also, American Airlines has extremely cheap operating costs here locally in Charlotte. But the main reason that we're concerned about this is because American Airlines is also effectively a real estate developer. Also, it is a part of the Real Estate Building Industry Coalition, which is the lobby that represents corporate real estate developers. And as such, there's a lot of public dollars that go into the airport, and for us as a housing organization, we've seen a lot of displacement and the threat of displacement for communities that are immediately around the airport. But we also see that American Airlines, in terms of how it operates, the service workers from SEIU have basically been pushing for higher wages and safety standards. For those of you who don't know, there have been in the past some service workers that have actually died because of like various safety related issues at the airport. And also, what we really want is for this to be an opportunity to be an investment from American Airlines directly into the community, because we've largely subsidized the cost of American Airlines operating here. And American Airlines has made in 2024 like billions of dollars in revenue, and that revenue is not really being reinvested back into communities. And so we believe that raising wages and standards for airport workers is something that would benefit any part of Charlotte where a large part of the workforce lives and works in an underpaid job. And we also would like to basically for the community to come together to organize and push for better conditions and wages. And this opens up, I think, opportunities for just higher wages for workers across the city. Um, as I mentioned before, the airport also charges very high fares and enjoys cheap operating costs. And this basically, I think, has been a net loss for consumers over the past 10 years. So what we really, as a result of that, we also want direct investment from American Airlines back into the community. So in 2016, American Airlines donated to the Foundation for the Carolinas and other nonprofits right before their lease was approved in I think it was like maybe March. Maybe the lease was approved in April around that time in 2016. So they gave around $450,000 to three nonprofits, including Foundation for the Carolinas. So we're basically saying that there is a precedent for this kind of direct contribution to the community. And it wasn't done through the lease exactly, but it was a part of the overall process that occurred. So we really want to see that kind of distribution back into the community based upon really the extent to which the community has the extent to which American Airlines has benefited from the deal that it's gotten from the city up until now. And I think the last and in a lot of ways the most important point that directly relates to East Charlotte in terms of the issue with the lease and American is that this lease negotiation process and these demands that we're pushing for with our partners at SEIU, the Service Employees International 32BJ, International Union 32BJ, and other organizations, is about the corporate stranglehold and like on Charlotte and the way in which it's affected all of us that live in Charlotte, right? So we know that Charlotte is a city that is run and operated in a lot of ways by developers. They have a lot of political power and they drive a lot of the political decision making. And so we know that like I think this is an opportunity for that power to be balanced by community demands and demands from organized labor. But also, when the ICE raids happened, when Border Patrol ramped up, there was a tremendous negative impact on local businesses, Central Avenue, Albemarle, and other corridors. And a lot of the entities that American Airlines again is with in terms of the business community, it's a part of REBIC, but it's closely aligned with the Regional Business Alliance, are the same entities that have been pushing for the toll lanes, pushing for the transit tax, and pushing for policies again that often use public money to the benefit of corporations and result in displacement. So we know that one such corporation, Hendrick Motors, was working directly with ICE and supplying ICE with vehicles. So we see that there's like this broader connection in terms of opening up space to challenge this corporate entrenched power that is, in many cases, detrimental not only to individual members of our communities, but the economic welfare and well-being, particularly of the businesses that that serve our communities. So we believe the lease is a mechanism for doing that, setting aside funding, particularly for communities impacted by airport displacement. And we also are asking for general like grants to be made available for community-based organizations across the city. And most importantly, the main thing we need right now is when the version of the lease that's being proposed is released, we want there to be transparency and we want a 90-day review period for that, such that there can actually be some kind of public discussion and debate around this topic. Because right now it's being done behind closed doors, and I think there are elements within city staff or the city attorney's office, and there's I think a tendency to want to scare us away from having a debate about this and making this public because of the regulatory aspects, the federal aspects, the fear of a state takeover of the airport, which we believe is not founded. But so given everything, we really want their transparency in the 90-day review period. So I'll turn it over to Chelsea. I took a little bit more time than I wanted to, but thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And one thing I want to level set with folks, and this is just typically how we do it. We do not have a lot of time, actually any time for Q&A. So Ishmael and Chelsea, if you guys, I know it's at the end of this presentation. I've got you guys on for about 8 more minutes. But if you want to go ahead and put your contact information in the chat so people, as questions come up, can reach out to you directly. Thank you. And Chelsea, you just let me know when to turn the slide.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Ishmael, for that. It was a really great overview. We just really wanted to be very clear up front with how this connects to East Charlotte, because I think it's easy to kind of draw connections to the area immediately surrounding the airport, but I think it's important to recognize how this is affects everyone in Charlotte, including East Charlotte. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So this presentation is going to be a bit redundant with what Ishmael just said. There's going to be some rehash of things he already talked about, but I just want to go through the slides just to kind of pull it together and give you some visual aids as well, if that's helpful to folks. First and foremost, the fight that we're engaging with that, Ishmael has described is part of it is about displacement. The airport is expanding in all directions. Pursuing the city on behalf of the airport is pursuing rezonings that would take away neighborhoods and residential areas and turn them into manufacturing and logistics. Right now they're doing this through voluntary buyout programs where homeowners are being offered money to go ahead and sell. So it's not mandatory, but it is something that is being pushed. People are going door to door from the city to encourage people to consider offers. So, I mean this isn't directly affecting the east side, obviously, but this is happening, and so we think it's important to point this out, that people are actively being displaced by the expansion of the airport, which continues, constantly. Um, so if you can go to the next slide. And then this is just a slide that kind of shows just how much money is involved in the airport. I'm not going to go through all of these statistics and all these facts and figures, but there's a $32 billion impact to the region, 5% of state's gross product. It's if you can read the rest of the statistics yourself, but this is just kind of to make the case that the airport is a huge entity. It is a big engine, big economic engine in the area and in the state. A lot of money is going in and out of the airport, and so what we're asking for in our demands that Ishmael has spoken about and that this presentation covers as well is just a small piece of all of this money that is being made off of the airport. Basically, it's a huge economic entity. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is a map, a visual aid to kind of show you an idea that has been laid out. Actually, was previously laid out in 2017. I think this map comes from, which is the airport commercial development strategy. And this is an older document, but it shows, and I don't think anything has gotten smaller since then in terms of the footprint that they plan to occupy. But the red dotted line kind of shows you the areas that they could expand to, that they are considering development for. I mean, it's a huge area. This says 4,900 acres. So, I mean, the footprint to the area is enormous, and there's lots of people living in that area that would be affected by development in any part of this red dotted area. Not to mention people living beyond it who might, suffer as a result of noise or other effects. But that's from the 2017 airport commercial development strategy, and I don't think this would have shrunk in the past, 9 years. If anything, it's probably expanded. Okay, next slide, please. This just gives you a little bit more detail of how the city imagines the airport growing. There's a whole plan for the different zones around the airport that and plans for each of the areas, what they could be. You can see they're definitely planning in the next several years a fifth parallel runway. They're currently constructing, I believe, the fourth parallel runway. So there's plans for yet another runway, and we've been out there and spoken to people that are living in the area where the fifth parallel runway would be. But that's just part of it. I mean, obviously there's plenty of other development that they've got planned. So it's just continues to show you what a huge entity it is over there, and how it kind of sucks all of the surrounding area into this vortex, and is we don't we're just basically demanding to have more of a say in how that happens. All right, and next slide. Okay, so this is really the crux of it, and Ishmael spoke about this, but basically, the city will be negotiating, or has been negotiating, a lease agreement, use and lease agreement with the airlines, the biggest of which is American, and it's going to be later this year that it would be adopted. And this lease covers a lot of provisions. You can see construction plans, plans for development, future of airport expansion. It sets the terms for how these, the airlines are able to use the facilities. And so American, being the biggest airline, is obviously the biggest player in this negotiation. Next slide, please. So this slide says why is lease important to communities in West Charlotte, but a lot of this is applicable to East Charlotte as well. The one way, and Ishmael mentioned this, is that consumers, people who live in Charlotte, pay higher fares than anywhere else in the country, and that's largely due to Americans' dominance over the airport. And yeah, as well, the airport sets standards for workers that raising those standards would be be a boost to workers around the city in terms of showing the power of organizing. So, it obviously most directly affects West Charlotte in terms of the displacement, but we can easily connect it to East Charlotte as well. Next slide, please. Okay, and then what we're asking for, and Ishmael spoke about this, is some provisions in the lease that would give back to the community, and we could kind of dip into that huge amount of money that is generated by the airport, including a requirement that there be safety conditions and living wage standards for service workers, creation of an economic impact fund for displacement, and general community block funds / grants. But first and foremost, I think we are looking for a 90-day review period so that the public could actually look at the lease once it's a draft is ready, and be able to kind of pour over it and see what exactly it is that the city is agreeing to on behalf of its citizens. Next slide, please. Okay, so yeah, what I just said, the 90-day public review of airport lease would be our first priority, and then kind of going from there in terms of the actual benefits that we want to see in the lease. So if you're interested in what we've presented today, if this kind of lights a fire in you and you'd like to learn more, we have some next steps. You're welcome to join the HJC email list. Ishmael has put our email address in the chat. You're welcome to send us an email. We'll get you added to the list and get you so you know about updates. There will be upcoming city council meetings where we're going to be putting forth these demands at public forums. Separately, the city is also pursuing a rezoning in West Charlotte that we are trying to fight, that would change some residential areas to manufacturing and logistics, and we've teamed up with neighbors in that area to oppose that petition. The public hearing for that won't be this month. It's likely going to be in May, but we can give you updates on that as we get them.
And just one quick thing too. So tomorrow at the free speech zone at the airport, SEIU is having a press conference. I think it's going to be at like 10:45. If anybody wants to come check that out, feel free to email or text me about that. And we're also just asking for your support as neighbors, and also from support for Charlotte East for the review period and the other demands on this. But thank you very much for letting us present.
Yeah. I think the last slide is a QR code that should allow you to sign up for the email list. I believe that's what it goes to. But yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you both. Thank you both. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Ishmael. And again, I wish we had more time for Q&A, but please reach out to their team if you do want to learn more. I know Ishmael, we've worked together in the past on a lot of things, and he will break it down for you in much further depth. So thank you both. Jerry, are you on the call with us?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Doing great. Thank
Excuse
you.
me.
I heard that you were potentially giving access. Could I share to see if I can?
Yeah, go ahead. That would be better than me pulling up my email. Go ahead.
There you go. Can y'all see that?
If you zoom in a little bit, yeah. That's better, I believe.
Is that better?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all. Thank you, McMahon, for allowing for the Diaper Bank of North Carolina to present today. I am Jerry Garcia. I am the branch director for our Charlotte location. And then we have Idam, who is our volunteer engagement coordinator supporting the branch. So the reason that would like to present and share some of our information with you all is because there's a leadership change in our Charlotte branch, and we're making our rounds as much as we can to share that there's new faces, but at the same time the work continues. So a little bit of a brief history as far as our Charlotte branch is. We're a state agency, but the Charlotte location began in 2022. We hit the ground running by providing some of those numbers that are in the screen in front of you. We very quickly grew in our Charlotte location. As you could see, we jumped from 56,000 diapers to 364,000 diapers. So, and as each year continues, we continue to grow. We don't have our 2025 impact, but I would like to share with you all that I believe we're close to 800,000 diapers distributed to our greater Charlotte area and the surrounding area as well. So a little bit about the diaper bank is that one, we provide diapers and we provide period products, adult incontinence to our community. We distribute to organizations because many times we find that if there's a need for diapers at home, there's a need for other resources as well. So how can we get families connected to trusted organizations that are already servicing their communities? Well, that's who we like to partner so that families do not have to one drive to our location and go to multiple areas. Rather, we see an increase in organizations in their case management services because they're offering diapers and other products to those families. So we see that one out of every two families are struggling to buy hygiene products, and some of the support that we provide is also formula, something that is not here on our impact report. We also provide formula and other services as well um, um, to our partners. A little bit as far as what other services do we also provide? Well, as you can see, we have volunteering opportunities. We are a volunteering organization that we really support. They really support the work that we do through those volunteering hours that the individuals provide. So part of our ask today is to one, share that we are open Monday through Friday for volunteering opportunities. All that information is I'll add to the chat as far as the link to those opportunities. Individuals that would like to support, whether it's one individual or 50. We have a capacity of 50 individuals to come in to each session, and it is a really meaningful opportunity because not only do you get to wrap the diapers that are going into the community, but we will also share with you the impact numbers of the diapers that you wrapped that day and how many babies you supported for volunteering 2 hours with the diaper bank. However, as you all see these great numbers, I think it highlights the need that we're seeing in the community. But also, something that we're trying to share with the masses is that although the diaper bank has been operating since 2013 in the state of North Carolina, we're still the new kids on the block. Not many people know about the diaper bank. Not many people know what services we offer. So we are trying to share our story as much as possible. We're trying to join tables that are having conversations about public health, that are having conversations about poverty in our area. So if you all would ever like to support us in a different way, I will also be sharing my information and Edom's information to get in contact with us. We would be open to give you a tour of the organization, of the branch. We would encourage you all to get us connected to maybe individuals that are interested about learning about the diaper bank. Because again, we're trying to share our impact. We're trying to share our story. We're trying to share the work that we do. We're doing great work already. The numbers speaks for themselves. We're getting close to providing over 2 million products to the Mecklenburg, Charlotte area and surrounding areas as well. But at the same time, we would like to have those conversations with individuals that may be available to support the organization in a deeper way. Some things that can be very easy and easy to take on are diaper drives. If you're ever interested in doing a diaper drive, maybe you have a great network within your organization, your faith group that you are a part of, or maybe you have caring individuals in your own home that would like to set up a diaper drive. We're always open for an opportunity. 90% of all the products that we have at the diaper bank is purchased by the diaper bank. So we really appreciate the support. We appreciate the work that we do, and we appreciate the conversations that we're going to have with you all in the future. Something that I would also like to share is a little bit as far as like, okay, so you all provide some of these diapers. Great. What are the outcomes? Well, we see that 76% of the families that we're supporting are working families. A lot of them are doing 1 to 3 jobs. Some of them are able to go to work because they get a full days of diapers from the diaper bank that they can then take their children to daycare. The 52% of our individuals that share their information with us are able to buy food because now they can allocate their funds into buying food instead of buying or supplementing some of the diapers because they're receiving support from our organization. And then lastly, like I mentioned, 44% receiving diapers will allow me to pay more for medical bills. These are some just a quick snapshot of the outcomes that we're seeing by coming into communities and supporting the greater Charlotte area. So again, my name is Jerry Garcia. We have Edom. We're the new diaper bank team here in our Charlotte area. We would encourage you all to reach out to us and share more about the work that we're doing. And with that, I'll stop there. Thank you very much for allowing uh, us to share about the work, and then I'll stop sharing my screen now.
No problem. Thank you both so much, and thank you for the incredible work that you all do. Where are your, sorry if I missed this, and I should know this, but where are your offices based?
Yeah, thank you. So we're located on the northeast of Charlotte, out by Graham Street,
Okay. Okay.
about 2 miles north of Noda, give or take. Right around that area is where we're at, right off the tracks on Graham Street.
Okay. Yeah, please, we always send a follow-up email with the information, but please go ahead and put your contact in the chat. I know we have a number of great agencies on this call who are either existing, past partners, or folks that would want to participate. So thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you as well.
All right, y'all, I have 3 more items. We've got about 13 minutes left. This one is more of a celebratory milestone, as we've been talking about this on these calls since inception. But Friday officially was the groundbreaking for the Eastland Sports Complex. It has been a very, 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 very long journey to get to this point. There are many of you who've spent decade plus on this. This was quite an emotional event on Friday, but thank you, Eastside, for your patience on this, for making sure that a project that our community really could benefit from was the one that was chosen. Representative Lopez is on the call, huge part of the advocacy of that project, making that happen in 2023. And Councilmember Mosquera Arias, while he inherited this, I will say, if it were not for Councilmember Mosquera Arias, we would be waiting a few more months for the groundbreaking. And within 3 months, coming in and making this a priority to make sure that this at least happened, from a market stability, like an investment standpoint, was absolutely critical. So I want to point a few things out. I know we talk about this frequently, but wanted to give a couple updates. So you see the company, excuse me, the sports complex is really two separate teams. So you have the indoor team, primary led by Edge Sports Global. They are based out of Boston, but they have 15 of these across the United States. This will be the first of theirs in the Carolinas. It is the first and only amateur sports complex in Charlotte. According to the Regional Visitors Authority, our market could actually withhold and support 4 of these facilities currently. We have the first and only one. It's going to be a 120,000 square foot facility. It's going to open late 2020, probably mid 2028. Edge is giving us 1,000 annual hours of community use of this facility. So this is not just going to be a shiny object that the community will not be able to use. We will be able to use it, and we look forward to negotiating with them on really how that looks. That's going to be 12 acres of the site, and then you have the remaining 18. Remember, this is the total 30-acre parcel that's remaining. The final 18 are 6 soccer fields that are going to be privately managed and run by Charlotte Soccer Academy. The community use on that is going to be a little different type of a conversation. Those fields should open up sooner, but still, I believe 2028. This was just a great day. And I wanted to shout out, I don't know, he doesn't get a lot of credit, but I really wanted to give him credit. This gentleman in the bottom left, his name is Robert Bolton. Robert is an Eastside legend. He played basketball for Independence back in the 90s, and Robert is the managing partner on this project. I mean, his kids, he lives, breathes AAU. He kind of got thrust into this role as a volunteer role. He's working for Forbes, and it's escalated into being a full-time managing partner. Without him, this doesn't happen. So just know the person on the ground leading this is Eastside through and through, which I think is just so cool. And a lot of credit to a million people for making this happen. On the council side, the previous council side, this would not be possible without Mayor Pro Tem James Mitchell. Without him, this doesn't get done, period. End of discussion, it doesn't get done. Dr. Victoria Watlington was the one that proposed the merger between the soccer fields and the indoor sports complex. And I will say this publicly now, the team that was interested in bringing the concerts are no longer part of this development in any way, shape, or form. Southern Entertainment, who was responsible for Love and Life Music Festival, they are not part of this at all. They're done. They're gone. So while there might be I do anticipate there being some type of like entertainment activity seasonally on some of these parcels. There will not be large scale concerts, which is what our community really did not want to see. So anyway, this was a tremendous day for our community, for the city at large, and for the Piedmont. Estimated economic impact of this is $169 million annually to our community directly. First full year of operations, over 1 million site visitors, new site visitors that are previously coming because there's nothing there, so nobody's coming to the site. And I forget how many hundreds of thousands of hotel stays per year, but when we talk about replicating kind of the impact of what the mall did at its height, this is it. This is it. Now, there are a lot of challenges that have to be worked out, particularly from the transportation front. That's going to be a very big challenge that I feel like we have the right partners in the right place at the different bodies of government and levels to figure this out within 2 years as much as possible. Because as y'all know now, if you've ever tried to drive around that cider on Sharon Amity, turning left or right onto Central from Sharon Amity at any time between 3 and 7 o'clock, you're stuck for 20 minutes. So significant challenges to be figured out, but it was a great day on Friday for the Eastside. Many more sunny days ahead. I don't think I have anybody from the school board here, but Beth, I know you've gone to one of these. This is another culmination of a lot of Eastside volunteer work and advocacy. So Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools was supposed to have done this 2 years ago, I believe, and now they're just doing it now. But every, I think it's 7 years, CMS does a reassessment of boundaries, magnets, enrollment projections, programming, all of that good stuff. Well, they did it in 2024, and now the draft plan that came from that, based off of the data review, is being shared with the public extensively this month, the month of March. There's actually a session. I don't know where the session is today, but there's a session not on the east side today. I went to the one at Garinger. Beth, did you go? Where did you go? Did you go to Garinger too? You're at the Garinger one? CMS staff and consultants are at every single high school. Like, you can see the full calendar on CMS's website. These are just the east side ones. 6 different sessions a day. They explain how the process we got here, what are the overarching changes, and then they're being very transparent with how these changes take effect, right? So there's one policy change that's going to happen with a board vote in May, and then the next one will be in December. So a lot going on here, but this month of feedback is absolutely critical. I will say, for those of you who follow the East Side's advocacy for getting world languages to the East Side forever, because we didn't have it, that is still protected and secured. It was contingent that programmatic change at Garinger High School would happen, tied to the $55 million in capital improvement bond that was voted upon by voters in 2024 for that site specific. So Garinger will be getting its world languages magnet. All the other programming is going to be stripped down, but kind of in a nutshell, I'll tell you guys quickly what the district is doing. Enrollment is declining throughout the district. I mean, there are 1.5 million options for parents to send their kids elsewhere. So that's not the only reason, but I know one of the reasons CMS had to look at all of its different magnet programs. So if you're not familiar with the magnet, Magnet is essentially a specific course track that gets plopped at a school that allows students that might not be living in the zone for that school that they're supposed to be going to opt into a different school. And by and large, over the years, it's been used as a way to get out of schools that individuals, parents, families view as undesirable, which has typically been our schools on the east side, is what the perception has been. So the district has stripped back all magnets with the exception of 6 that are going to be uniform across the board. They're investing heavily in career and technical education programming, which I think is phenomenal. Garinger is going to have like 7, I think, different tracks, one of which I'm very grateful they took our feedback. Because of what's coming to Eastland, they're adding a hospitality and tourism track to Garinger for those kids. So very excited about that workforce development pipeline. But just know you don't have to go to the sessions, but the sessions, they've been very, very, very user-friendly, very helpful. I would recommend if you have the time to go. And you can give the feedback online. And I see Kim, yes, IB is gone at Albemarle Road Middle. No, there is none elsewhere. They're actually, what it looks like, and this is kind of the linchpin that's like freaking a lot of parents out, not in the Eastland area, but on the east side, is the Piedmont middle feed is getting blown up. So the parents that start their kids in Shamrock Gardens, a lot of the Plaza Midwood folks, essentially they're now being told that they will have to go to Marie G. Davis to continue their IB talent, LTD, whatever it is, magnet, but then they'll still matriculate at East Mac High School if they want to continue for IB. Like, it doesn't matter, they'll end up at East Mac. But what I think they're doing, and this is conjecture, this is not them saying this, is it looks like they're trying to remove Piedmont as an IB from the sense of making it a feeder into the new health sciences high school that's going to be uptown. But to answer your question there directly, Kim, no, there's besides Piedmont right now, there's not going to be another Eastside IB for middle. It's going to be Marie G. Davis. All right, so highly suggest that y'all tune into that. We have 3 minutes left. I'm sorry we're not going to have a lot of time for open Q&A today. I do invite everybody, their sister, their mama, their cousins, to come meet with us Saturday morning between 10 and noon at Manolo's. We just meet there, get supplies to clean up Central Avenue from Manolo's to the Eastland property, and then back. It's a great day for community building if people need to get volunteer hours out of the way. Really a great time to engage with community. And we have all the materials, the bags, the hand pickers, the chompers, whatever you want to call them. So that'll be our first. We do 3 of these a year. This will be our first. And the last thing before I open it up for 2 minutes is, and I'll send this in the follow-up minutes, the city's budget prioritization survey is open. Highly encourage that individuals take that survey and pay closely attention to some of the decisions that are being made now and discussions that are being had on council. This is a more malleable council than we have had in the past, I will say. One that is more community responsive as a whole, as a collective, not one individual. But now would be a really great time to give some of that feedback, and I will make sure that link gets sent out. I do see Concejal. I'm going to give you a second. Do you have anything you would like to add? Guess not. Yes, Representative Lopez.
Thank you, Greg, for another good meeting and for everybody for the information that was shared. Just wanted to put kind of plug myself. We are doing a town hall in the Farm Pond neighborhood on March 21st at 1 p.m. I do not know how to add the flyer to this chat, otherwise I would, but March 21st, Farm Pond HOA building 5050 Farm Pond Lane. Would love to see as many folks there. Just giving a quick recap on what has and hasn't happened in Raleigh over the past year, but then also would love to hear some of your priorities as we prepare for short session this year. But thank you again.
Thank you. And what was the date of that again, Jordan?
March 21st.
Oh, okay, so like next weekend. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Saturday. Mhm.
Okay, cool. All right, y'all. Well, we are at time. If there's anything you would like me to share, I send these minutes out Friday morning. So please get it to me tomorrow. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to all who presented. Appreciate y'all. Have a great day.